Before the break, we talked about America's role in the world as we enter a new Trump era and as Trump's own foreign policy seems to be shifting away from the isolationism promised by the America First slogan of his first term. Joining me now is Mark Hanna. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute for Global Affairs at the Eurasia Group. He teaches at Columbia University School of International and Public Affairs. Hey, Mark, I got to talk to you about the very immediate news, and this is before Trump's inauguration. Possibly in the next 4 hours or so, we may start to see the beginning of a hostage prisoner exchange between Israel and Gaza and a ceasefire going into effect. We can only hope that's going to happen, but everything's very fluid there. Right. Talk to me about this. Donald Trump will take office as this is unfolding.
He will, and he'll also take credit for this because, you know, this is indistinguishable from a lot of the deals that Joe Biden and his team were negotiating.
Right. Looks very similar to the deal that was proposed in May.
Of course.
Yeah.
No major differences. Of course, Donald Trump is going to say that kinder and gentler approach did not work. I had to come in here and say there's going to be hell to pay, and make a credible threat of American muscle flexing, and that's what brought not only Hamas but also Netanyahu to the table. Now, this is a three-phased deal. Right. Phase 2 doesn't even start getting negotiated until 16 days after phase 1 begins tomorrow morning. So there's a lot that could go wrong here. Israel has basically said that it needs all the hostages back. It needs Hamas to demilitarize, not to have a political presence. Hamas has said Israel has to get completely out. The IDF has to exit completely Gaza. It's unlikely either of those two eventualities will happen without some more, at least, rhetorical conflict.
So whether or not Donald Trump wants to deal with it, he's going to end up. And by the way, his guy, Steve Witkoff, was involved in the negotiations, and by all accounts, everybody was working on the same side of the table.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a credit to a smooth transition. Yes. There were some reports that he strong-armed, Brett McGurk and the Biden people out. But for the most part, they had a shared objective here. Yeah. And we're able to pull it off, maybe with some sort of good cop, bad cop routine. I don't know.
Well, let's hope. Talk to me about, you study this all the time, all the things that I said in the introduction here, you study. Is there a fundamental difference between America First and America renaming and taking Canada, Greenland, Gulf of Mexico, Panama Canal? Is this a real thing or not?
I think, look, Trump, you characterized him as isolationist. I think that fits, but he's also very transactionalist, right? And I think he looks back at this, has this kind of gauzy, nostalgic view of American power, maybe at the turn of the 19th century, and William McKinley, right? Like this kind of territorial acquisition is what he's done as a real estate developer. And I think he probably equates in some way great American presidents with, the Louisiana Purchase and westward expansion and the acquisition of Alaska and Puerto Rico. Like, I think there is a way in which this isn't necessarily expansionist. I don't think he's going to attempt to take these by force. But I think he's coming out throwing punches with some grandiose opening of a negotiation before he even takes office. Whether and what he's going to accomplish remains very much to be seen.
One of the concerns about Tulsi Gabbard becoming the DNI is that she has close relationships, or is thought to have close relationships with Russia. Mike Turner, who was the head of the House Foreign Intel Committee, was replaced by Mike Johnson because he was thought of as sort of a reasonable guy who supports U.S. support of Ukraine. Yeah. The Ukrainians are coming up to the third year of the war in February. What do you think happens there?
Look, Trump has already kind of modified his original campaign promise that he was going to end it within 24 hours. Right. Now it's going to be 6 months. My best estimate is probably, knowing how kind of messy these things are and the kind of territorial negotiations that occur, I think it will happen within his administration. I think that the war will end. I think it will be closer to 2 years, 2.5 years. Mike Turner, Jim Himes, on the House Intelligence Committee, said of his, erstwhile candidate on the Republican side that he was only 90% Trump, right? And the fact that he wasn't 100% Trump meant that Trump needed to boot him because he was insufficiently loyal. Like, this is the kind of thing that we're starting to see with his appointments. We're starting to see, this is a criterion. I have friends that worked in the State Department that were asked by Nikki Haley and her office at UN, what are your loyalties, essentially? Yeah. And these are career people, not political appointees. So loyalty is going to figure very prominently in this next administration.
Mark, good to see you. As always, thanks very much for the work that you do and for joining us tonight. Mark Hanna is with the Institute for Global Affairs at the Eurasia Group.